Today I'll explain what are the components terminology we have with the Azure AVD. As already we discussed, Azure AVD is the VDA solution from Azure, which is like most of the controller kind of components are managed by Azure. It's easy to deploy. If you go for the traditional VDA kind of things, we need to manage, or we need to create controllers, high availability of the controllers, database, or maybe storefront kind of servers, load balancers. All these we need to take care. It's very expensive for a small and medium kind of enterprises. Whereas a large scale companies, they don't have any issue, but for the smaller scale companies, if they want to go for the VDA solution, managing all that is very expensive kind of thing. So that is the reason Azure AVD is providing like a managed service from the Azure, which will provide VDI like a desktop virtualization and app virtualization can be delivered. So user experience would be very good with the Windows 10 or Windows 11, or even the multi-session Windows server also can be given. Either we can give the single session to assign the users, or multi-session also. In the just like Citrix, we can create either single session or multi-session. Okay. So who are using Citrix, like they may not feel that much like a user experience, but Azure also is giving, but it's very simple to give. Whereas Citrix is required a lot of complex infrastructures, very like a huge team is required to manage. But for the small, like less than 2000 users like this, or 1000 users less than that, and for the remote users, mostly like for the cheaper price, enterprises are using Azure also. Okay, so either we can deliver desktops, or we can use the remote apps also. Just like in the Citrix also will give delivery groups or application delivery groups. And now even we can integrate with the Microsoft 365 apps also. Intune kind of solutions also is automatically integrated. And we can install, or we can deploy our applications with any of the format. MSIX, AppX, Win32. Going forward, we'll deploy these kind of application installers also. Okay, so the traditional RDS kind of deployments, we have a lot of companies are using RDS kind of deployments also. So, and on-premises Azure Stack HCI is a hybrid client kind of thing. That means physically also we will have, and even in the Azure cloud also we have. That means we can deliver the host desktops from Azure Stack. Also we can deploy Azure Stack. Also we can deploy. So using this, what is the advantages? The traditional Hyper-V is different. HCL is a hybrid cloud setup. I'll tell one example. Say suppose we may have a VMware ESXi server, right? Or vSphere is different. vCloud is different. In the same way, Azure Stack HCI is a private cloud kind of solution, supports hybrid cloud environments on top of hypervisors. The hypervisor they have is Hyper-V. So means Azure Stack HCI is not only the Hyper-V kind of setup, it's a hybrid cloud setup. Okay, so then Azure AVD is supporting private cloud or not? Yes, it's supporting Azure Stack HCI and Azure Cloud. It's a hybrid cloud also is going to support. Okay, so HCI stands for Hyperconverged Infrastructure. Okay, it's Azure Private Cloud Solution. Then we have the host pool. So what is the host pool? Already we discussed the host pool also. Host pool is a collection of Azure virtual machines registered as session host, and the session host have been delivered to the users. Say either that may be a single user session host we can give, or multi-user session host we can give. That group of Session hosts are called as a host pool. And most of the session host images have been sourced from the source image. So mostly in the Citrix environment, we are going to call for this mission catalogs. So here in the AVD environment, we are calling as host pools. A host pool is a collection of Azure virtual missions, and those have been registered as a session host. We can create the session host, we can add the VMs, and those session hosts can be delivered to the user as a single user session or multi-user session. And host pool types can be two types. One is like personal, where it's a dedicated kind of thing. That means whenever that session host has been assigned to the user, it provides a dedicated desktop user experience. And we can go for a pooled kind of thing where like multiple users also like they can connect at the same time. Okay, so they will provide like shared remote experience, but the main advantage is for the personal we need to create more number of desktops, whereas pooled can be shared. Okay, if you have three ships also, we don't need to create more number of session hosts, and we can reduce the cost also. It's not only the session host. Once we create those, we can assign them, or we can publish as application groups also. So we are going to publish the all the applications also. We are grouping in those session hosts. We should have the applications. Those applications directly we are delivering over RDP called as application groups. Okay, so we will have the control over the desktops. Either desktops can be delivered to the user, in that they can access the apps. Otherwise, directly apps itself also can be given to the
Yes.
user. So like even now from 7.x, Citrix also is doing. Previously, we need to go for two different solutions, but now Citrix also is doing both. Okay, so now here we can deliver either a full control desktop we can give, or only the applications access can be given to the user. Okay, so both the ways we can deliver our solution in the AVD. But giving the remote app for the personal desktops are not possible, or personal pools are not possible. Only for the pooled only we can give.
Mm,
Pooled only we can give. Okay.
mm,
So then like the multiple remote apps, all those logically will called as workspace. So what is the concept of the workspace? Is the logical grouping of application groups as a single entity is called as workspace.
mm.
Okay, each workspace must be associated with the workspace while creating or publishing the application group. Definitely it should be associated with the workspace. Okay, and end users, most of them are from the Azure Entra ID users we are creating, and they're going to connect from the Azure Virtual Desktop clients. And once they connected, there would be a user session. The user session types will have an active user session. That means he is connected to that actively, he is connected, disconnected. Previously is connected. Okay, so but he's not completely sign off. Otherwise, pending is trying to connect. Okay, so sign in process may take some time. At that moment, we are going to get it. User session is pending. Okay, so then like we'll discuss what is the Azure architecture components we have. Azure architecture
Comp-
components. Azure provides a very high reliable, resilient. That means even one server goes down in the Citrix, we know, right? If you know database, another database would be there, or local host cache would be there. One controller goes down, another controller, one storefront, one more storefront will like this here. Here also is a high reliable kind of thing, and even like solution is always available. So then we are going to manage Azure Virtual Desktops we have. So what are the architecture components? It's very simple architecture. Okay. So what is the web service, broker service, gateway service, resource directory, geographical database. A web service is nothing but in the Citrix environment, it's called as,
Storefront.
in the Citrix environment is called as,
Storefront.
yeah, storefront kind of thing. Or previously we have a web interface, right? But these all the components normally will have in the RDS environment also. That means if you know Windows Server RDS capabilities, RDS also we can group them and we can deliver through web service and broker service, all these Windows Server capabilities itself. But we need to maintain more Windows servers. That's very expensive kind of thing. But these all the components, what are the components here we have? Web service, broker service, gateway service, resource directory, geographical database. Okay, so these all in the Azure AVD environment is managed by Azure itself. Okay, so who is managing all this?
Azure.
Azure itself is managing. If you want to manage all these, we can manage very easily, but it's very expensive kind of thing. For the bigger companies, anyhow, they can manage, but for the smaller or medium enterprises, managing all these is very expensive. Then, in the RDS environment, what a web service will do is normally, if you want to connect through Citrix, you will connect through Storefront. But here, like we have like a web service, a broker service. It takes the input connection and establish the connection. All those normally in the controller will do this kind of broker service. Then we have a gateway service. Okay, then resource directory will provide like multiple databases to establish the connection. All those. And one say here in Azure environment, they are going to maintain the geographically, like in all the locations, they're replicating that data. What is the advantage with this is we no need to have a local host cache kind of thing. Even one database goes down, another database itself would be there. Okay, so that is the reason geographically also from the nearest location also we can deliver this kind of desktops to the users. Okay, so like this very high scalable, high available RDS kind of deployments is possible.
Mhm.
Okay, so with the, and what are the components here we have? Web service, broker service, gateway service, resource directory, geographical database. Okay, so these all we are going to maintain. Okay, so then like here on top of that, when the user is connecting to that like Azure Traffic Manager, Azure Front Door also we can have. Okay,
Okay, sir.
so these also like Azure Traffic Manager is used for the like GSLB kind of thing, right? Whenever one site is down, automatically it's going to manage all these. You no need to take care. Azure will provide all this. Means you no need to create the traffic manager, all these. But in the Azure in the backend, they're supporting all these for us. That's the reason for that companies. Otherwise, normally for Azure Traffic Manager, normally in our Citrix environment, what we need to manage?
High availability.
No, no. For the Traffic Manager kind of service, we want in Citrix GSLB kind of thing. Which service we want?
NetScaler.
Yeah, NetScaler is required. That means here Azure Traffic Manager itself will take care all those. What we just need to do is just to create the like session host, start those session host, assign them to the users, or publish the application groups, then deliver them. Remaining the
Mm.
controller components, high availability, backup, connections, all those would be taken care by Azure itself.
Okay.
Networking, all those also we need to take care. for the host pools, how the network, whether you want a private connection or maybe like a hybrid kind of connections, all these we need to design. Okay. So then,
Okay.
here we'll see one diagram here. Azure available zones. Always we need to distribute the session host across the multiple the available zones, regions, better to split. Okay, then we need to take a backup also. So for Azure AVD, using the Azure backup, we need to provide the backup also for those desktops. If there is anything outage happens, at least we can restore our session host. Okay, then we can replicate our automatically we can replicate our session host from one site or one region to another region. Automatically switch over can be done using Azure Site Recovery. And Azure Advisor will help right sizing of the host pools are we using. So that means you are using very high-end server for the host pool. Users are not connecting. Then definitely we need to pay more money. Or vice versa. Users want more performance, but we have chosen the very small size of the VMs. Then they don't get the performance. All this. Like Azure Advisor will help us how to secure, how to take the cost optimizations, how to improve the performance. They will give some advices for us. So those advices also we can follow in order to optimize Azure resource utilization kind of thing.
Mm.
Okay. So then definitely when we are going to create the session host, Azure available zones and the regions we are going to replicate, backup to take the backup of our workloads, Azure Site Recovery to replicate this automatically to session host, and automatically it will switch also. One region goes down to another region also. Okay. So now here the client, like mostly the front door is a CDN kind of thing. Then here gateway service, broker service, all these also is going to connect. And finally to that session host, the user is connecting. From the session host, normally in the Citrix, we are going to connect through ICA, right?
Yes, sir.
But here this is going to be delivered through, this is going to be delivered through,
DP.
say through RDP itself is going to deliver. Through the RDP, the user is going to connected to the desktop. Whenever the user is connecting in the Citrix, say if the user want ICA itself, then for the Azure, what is the solution you will suggest? Say in the Azure environment, if the user want RDP itself, then we need to go for, okay, so then we need to suggest to go for like Azure dash-based service we can support. So that means Citrix is available as a dash in the either Citrix cloud environment or in the Azure environment. Okay, so like this we can publish if the user want ICA itself. But here in the AVD, the user is connecting through
RD.
RDP environment, the user is connecting. Okay, so now here normally we'll have in the Citrix environment, we have the Citrix enumeration process, right?
Yes.
So now here whenever the user want to connect, okay. So now like here this feed the list of desktops and user which has entitled or which has access, that is called as feed discovery. Okay. So that is the feed discovery is the user is going to get the list of like
Application
yeah,
resources.
which is user has authorized. That's maybe in the Citrix we are calling as enumeration kind of thing. Here we will call as feed discovery. Okay, then a connection over the So during the feed discovery, like already we are entitling those users to that maybe apps and desktops. The user may be located anywhere in the world because AVD delivers the very high available global site load balancing from anywhere in the world the user can connect. Okay, so what is here the Azure Traffic Manager? Whenever we hit a URL, we'll have a URL from where we can connect to Azure desktops. The Traffic Manager routes the user device to the closest instance of Azure Virtual Desktop web service using its a global traffic from the based on the IP address of the user. It is going to redirect to the closest, which uses the IP address. So, say suppose your internet service provider will give you a IP address, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's it's going to connect. Okay, so then based on that, it is going to redirect. That means here maintaining that geo traffic load balancer for the small scale company is not a easy thing, but for everyone, Azure is providing Azure Traffic Manager. It's a managed service from Azure. You no need to configure Azure Traffic Manager in this scenario. Okay, so then after this, the web service connects to the virtual desktop broker service in the same region itself. That means in that itself, the web service connects to the Azure Virtual Desktop broker service and to retrieve the RDP files and applications. Okay, so then for the user feed, the broker service connects to the Azure Virtual Geographical Database. What is here doing is you may have 40 locations for AVD. Whatever the user database is going to replicate to all the locations, the globe. That means Azure itself automatically is replicating. Normally, in the Citrix environment, we are replicating the local host cache. But if we have the multiple sites, definitely we need to create multiple databases. But here automatically Azure itself is providing high availability for the database, and automatically they're going to replicate that database schema at multiple locations. That means in every geographical location, Azure is maintaining a database for us. Okay, so from there, that user is going to get that session details, all those. So from the nearest user, from the nearest location itself, Azure is trying to give from their AVD environment. But if you have all regions, but almost 40 regions are supported for AVD as of now globally. Okay, in this scenario, what's going to happen is whenever the user connects, wherever it may be hosted. Now in the Azure environment, it's very high servers are available, and the web service connects to the Azure Virtual Desktop, and it retrieves all the RDP files and application icons to the user feed. For that, it need to establish a connection to the database. From that nearest location server itself, it is also having that global database or geographical database. From that, it is establishing the connection. Okay, then that broker service return that RDB files and application icons to the web service, which returns that information to the user device. Then we should have the client on that user. From that, it is going to establish the connection. From that, it is going to establish the we'll discuss that. In the service architecture and resilience, we have one diagram here. So now here, if you go for these components, web service, broker service, gateway service, resource directory, geographical database, all these are managed by Azure itself. Only session host and user died. They're going to replicate mostly in all the locations. They're replicating the database also. That means one user connects from US for our session host itself. That would be connected to US location for the geographical database. For Indian users, maybe from the Indian, it's going to connect. Okay, so now here that web service, broker service for the AVD, like for the multiple clients, Azure itself is managing. Depends upon our geographical database, they're going to give those details. Okay, so about the desktops and apps from the host pools in the same regions covered by Azure. If the user assigned from the different, that tells that web service to connect the broker service and geographical database in that region. Depends upon this, it is going to tell this that data also from which region it need to collect, and from that it is going to identify the to the another region broker services. Suppose here we got the first time this web service connects to this, but it is telling it is from the another region. From that, it is going to retrieve. It is going to retrieve. Then RDP connection is going to be established. Okay, so previously the user got the RDP details to which you need to connect. Now the RDP connection is going to be, that means it's a launch kind of process. Previous one is enumeration kind of process. In the RDP connection, like first again it goes to Azure front door, which provides the global entry point. Then which gateway service it need to be with a low latency at that moment, which gateway service is low latency, to that it is going to connect. Then the broker service and enable a session host in that region and orchestrate the connection between user device and session host. Okay, so now here there is some RDP short path. Mostly we'll use RDP short path like by bypassing the gateway service. Otherwise, here reverse connect transport, both the relaying the traffic between the like by default this is the reverse connection transport is there. RDP short path. I'll explain this while connecting to this. We can see. So now here we can bypass it. Otherwise, directly like gateway we are going to bypass. Even whenever you are connecting to in the Citrix environment, when the ICA file or ICA file is got, that storefront, sorry, that receiver automatically connects. That storefront automatically connects to what? The storefront directly connects to that like VDA which we got it. That means it's bypassing other all the components. Directly it establishing the connection. Okay,
Right.
you got it right. So once we got the ICA file, receiver directly established a 1494 connection with that
VDA.
VDA itself. That means it's bypassing again. You no need to contact through storefront or maybe through controllers. It's not going to do.
Mm.
Okay, directly that between it is created between the user device and session host. It is bypassing
Connection.
the gateway service. Whereas in this reverse connect protocol, after both client connection to the gateway service, it starts again relaying the RDP traffic using TCP. Okay, so this again in this RDP reverse connection, okay, it is even the gateway service also is there in the middle. Okay, so using that, it is going to establish the connections. So we'll discuss those. And for the service, I said that already Azure is managing more than 40 locations the users can connect. And who is going to manage that is Azure Traffic Manager will redirect. Okay, and Azure Storefront redirects to the gateway service. Okay, if there is an outage, automatically it would be, if the complete region also down, so no need to worry about that. Azure will redirect to, Azure is going to be redirect to another
Database.
region, another region. It will be automatically redirect to another region. Okay, so then like a geographical database uses the Azure SQL database, and whenever the failover and replication happens, it automatically taken okay uh, automatically it's going to take care of the replications all over the locations is going to be replicated. All your session host details, all those also is going to be replicated. Okay, and if any failover happens, automatically they're going to maintain the secondary replica also, and operations are going to be continue. Okay, for that, if there is any failover, new connections we may have some impact, but existing connections there is no impact. There is a very short duration. We may have the impact if the database goes down. Okay, so there may be impact for the sometime it's maybe downtime. Okay, so then after the like database connectivity, the resource directory, broker service, web service, all are available in regions. Okay, each component has multiple instances so that we don't have a single point of failure. But all these components are shared kind of thing. If you understand, it's not only for our session host only. Okay, otherwise it's very expensive, right? All these for the smaller companies, but these are mostly shared by the multiple people. Okay, so then Azure can be given very high available solutions, high scalable solutions for the very cheaper price. Okay, means these gateway services, those controller components are not only for our host pools. For the thousands of customers, they will use the same controller components. Okay, so with that we can reduce the overall cost. In the Citrix environment, mostly our controllers are only for our components itself. But here, like we have they're maintaining good number of gateway services, and even if one down, automatically they're going to take care those solutions. So now here they're maintaining multiple like broker services, gateway service, web service. Okay, so then the resource directory, multiple geographical databases. Okay, so like this here, this is one region one. If that failover also automatically it moves to another. Okay, so like this, the switches also is going to happen automatically. That's here the front door and traffic manager. These are the load balancer solutions we have. Okay, so now whenever we are connecting to the web service, which component is coming into this? So whenever we are connecting to that, traffic manager will come. When the RDP connection is happening, then it is going to use front door. So that means we have both traffic manager we have and front door also we have. Okay, so like this, the connection is going to happen and a highly available kind of solution. Okay, and here if you see, these are the different locations where they are supporting Azure Virtual Desktop. From anywhere in the world, the users can connect, and from the nearest location, like using the traffic manager, it can be delivered. And always the solution is highly available to the user. In the next session, like how to connect to those sessions, how to install the applications, all this we'll discuss. Try to create one account. Okay,
Sure,
so
sir.
today try to create one account, then
Okay,
how to connect to those and how to install the apps, updates, backups, all those, and how to create through PowerShell or maybe ARM templates, Terraform
sure.
also we'll discuss. Okay,
Sure.
yeah,
Okay, sir.
okay, sure, okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, sure, thanks, thanks.